I think Leslie is talking gardening this morning in Encinitas, so maybe she can talk to somebody who knows.
Yeah, can you put cherry blossoms out here?
Are you there, Leslie?
Hi.
Hey. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, we are here in Encinitas, and we're talking about irrigation because you know what? It's springtime, so a lot of people are going to be gardening, and they're going to be planting a lot of plants this spring, summer, and certainly you want to save up on your water bill if you can. So we're talking about efficient ways to irrigate your garden. So we are at a beautiful garden. In fact, this is Kent Horner's home. He's with CNH Gardens, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what it is that you can do at home, and it's pretty simple to save a lot of money on water, right?
Yes. Good morning. Nice to see you this morning. Welcome to my garden. I'm a landscape contractor here in North County, and we're going to show you a little bit about drip irrigation and what you can do to simplify and use less water in your own garden. If you see over here, we've got some drip tube that we've hooked up, and what we're going to do is clip it real quick.
So how much is this tubing?
This tubing is about $50 for a large roll. We're using 3/4 inch pipe just for and demonstration purposes, but you can use, if you have a small garden, you can use 1/2 inch pipe, and it's about $25 for a 100-foot roll. It's not very much at all.
So while you cut, just explain as far as how much savings you could get from just switching over to a drip irrigation.
You can probably save a good, I'd say 60% of your water usage. Wow. Simply by using drip. The drip is easy to put wherever you want. Right now I'm putting on a figure 8 that'll close the end of this pipe, and then we're going to turn on the water. We have it hooked up to a hose just for exhibition purposes right now. And this is nice because you can dedicate the drip only to the plants that you want to water. Okay? Whereas otherwise, if you have a spray irrigation, many times the water will go all over the place. You're wasting the water, and you're also watering weeds. And
it looks pretty easy to hide within like the bushes as well, which looks pretty cool.
Right, it's pretty nice. We have staples that we've already put down. Why don't you give me a staple, Horacio? Horacio is my associate. This is a metal staple, and we hold the drip down to the ground by simply pushing it down around the outside of the pipe, and it locks it right down, as you can see.
So you can just go right around your garden, and that's pretty easy. And then putting in the drip is pretty simple too, right?
Right. So laying out the drip's good. I have an example of a electric valve setup. So you can actually connect this to your water source, the main water source from the home, the main line. Then you can run this to an electric clock, and then you go with a pressure reducer. So let's say you use a very short amount of drip line, you need to have a pressure reducer, and it's important to have the arrow with the right flow so that the water goes through the pressure reducer and then out and into the drip line. Otherwise, if your drip line is too small and you have very few emitters, too high a pressure coming through this valve will pop them out.
Okay, and so and then you could also possibly put it to a hose, is that right?
You can also put it on a hose. This particular one has a hose bib right here. If you look down there, why don't you show them, Horacio? Pick it up so you can see what it is right here. It's connected to a hose right now with an attachment, so you can use it any way you want. You don't have to have a valve if you don't want to.
So very, very easy if you really want to go the easy route. So we'll talk about how to put the nozzles on in just a few minutes, but certainly it's pretty easy. You can just hook them on and then really just drive it all throughout your garden.
Right, you
very
can
cool.
run it all throughout the garden, and you can dedicate each individual emitter, as we're going to show you in a minute, right here. You can dedicate an emitter to each individual plant or group of plants.
Perfect. All right, we'll get to that in the next segment, but certainly we have a lot to talk about as far as how to hook up the drip, but certainly seems really easy. You save a lot of money, and we'll also talk about for people with allergies during the springtime. Well, we got a good way to really cut down on pollen in your garden, and you might be surprised on how it works. We'll send it back to you guys.
Is that whole thing his backyard right there?
What was that?
Is that his backyard? That's incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it goes all the way around. There's quite a bit more to the garden, to the yard. Wow. It's very incredible.
Gosh, my backyard feels kind of plain now.
Kind of wimpy.
I think we got to make friends.
Yeah.
Come on over. We'll drink a glass of wine and sit by the chimney.
All right.
There you go. We got an
invitation. Party.
Okay, we'll be over in an hour. Thanks, Leslie.
All right. Well, spring is here and summer can't be far behind.
That means it's time to get your garden ready. So Leslie's got out her green Green Thumb, and she's helping us in Encinitas today.
Hey, Les.
Hey, good morning, David and Alexis. Yes, I'm with Kent Horner. We're in his beautiful backyard, and we're talking about actually installing efficient ways to water your garden this spring and summer. So we are talking about a drip system, and earlier we were showing you how easy it is to install. You can actually just hook it up. You can hook up this hose right to a water hose, right?
Yes.
And so Kent, we're putting in a little bit of the drip system, and it is really easy to do. So that makes me really happy.
Yeah, would you like to try?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So let me
Here
get
we
you,
go.
Get you a nice
Poker.
instrument, poker, right?
All right.
And put it wherever you want.
All right, let's see here. All right, so I'm just going to poke this hose.
Right, poke it in hard, all the way down, push hard.
Am I going to get squirted?
There
Nope,
you go.
nothing squirted out at me. That's good.
You're good. There's the water coming out.
Okay.
So you want to put in a riser maybe.
Okay.
Just push it in here. I'll hold it for you.
All right, I can.
There you go.
And then it kind of screws in?
Yeah, it just goes in and screw it in. And now what typically we'll put a nice little spray nozzle on it. So we've got two.
We have a couple different spray nozzles, right?
A couple different spray nozzles. This one is more for an orchard, but it is adjustable. See the little handle on the side? You can turn it off or on. And that screws right into the top of the riser like this.
All right.
And then we're going to turn it on, but I'm going to put one more in the other riser. These risers are short just so you can get an idea of how easily they're applied. We have a large riser back here that is tall. Now the reason why I use a taller riser is in case you have a plant that's taller and you want to get the water over the top of the plant.
All right.
So.
And then we also have low ones, right? That just for like the bushes that are kind of intertwined in there.
So I'm going to put this last nozzle on, and then we're going to turn the water on, and we'll have a water display. Okay.
All right, cool. Here we go.
But the smaller, lower riser is this one, or lower. This is called a shrubler, and it's nice because you can unscrew or screw the top off, as you see, and that allows any debris that catches in, or any debris that catches in the emitter to be washed out, and then you can put it back on.
All right, so let's hit it.
Okay, turn on the water. You might want to stand back a little bit because these are going to spray.
Okay. So now, could you water little plants and big plants with these, or is it just for like small shrubbery?
Well, the nice thing about these is that, especially the
Oh, look, it spins around.
yeah, it spins around. The nice thing, like for instance, the shrubler right there at the bottom, if you wrap around a large palm specimen, yeah, exactly, that, you can go around the trunk of the tree and put about 4 or 5. So during the short time that the irrigation is on, it will water the bigger plant with enough water to keep it healthy. Whereas you could use the smaller sprayer and adjust it down, like for instance this, for the ground cover. And you can have that on for just a little bit. As you can see, you can adjust it up.
It just
or
kind of
down.
dribbles out, so you can really adjust.
Yeah, you can adjust each individual plant to its water needs.
Fantastic. So that is really helpful in saving water. You said about 60% of your water.
At least, I would say you save at least, don't have any runoff issues, you don't waste water, and it's healthier for each individual plant because each plant has its own water needs.
Fantastic. All right, so in the next segment, we'll talk a little bit about pollen because this springtime, a lot of people have allergies, and there is a way that you can really reduce pollen in your garden as well. All right, sending it back to you, David and Alexis.
Well, if I had a garden like that, I'm sure I would learn how to maintain it as well.
I know, but it's so easy. That's the best part of this. Like, I feel like I can go home and do this right away.
Okay.
Cool.
I would be hiring someone.
Yeah. If you figure it out, Leslie, then you can come to our
you're
table.
hired.
Just hooks up right to a hose. It's
Okay.
easy.
Okay.
It's awesome.
All right.
You guys can come over and we can do it together.
Okay. Group projects.
And I believe wine was offered too, so it's a great deal.
Right, and wine was offered and the whole thing. And a fire pit back here. We're good. We got a
Sounds
barbecue
beautiful.
going later.
Thanks, Les. All right, back to the tropics of Encinitas this morning.
It looks like such a wonderful little hideaway. Leslie is helping us garden.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, I'm about to get ready to peel this jacket off because it is so warm out here, but we are in Encinitas in Kent Horner's garden. In fact, his beautiful, beautiful backyard. And we're talking a little bit about drip irrigation earlier, but Kent, you are with C&H Gardens, and we're also talking because, I mean, it's springtime, so we're trying to tell people how to save up on money, watering especially, so the drip irrigation is real helpful. But people with allergies this spring, what can they do to really help themselves? I know pollen's a big concern during this time of year.
Well, there are a couple of ways that you can alleviate pollen. You can get into a tree and you can prune it back when it's flowering and kind of reduce some of the flowering portion of it. But they also produce a a pollen or flower control chemical that you can purchase and you can spray on your trees. Let me show you what it is. It's called Florel.
What is it called?
Florel brand growth regulator, and it's used for flowering trees that produce fruit. Now, what it does is it tricks the flower of the plant into believing that it's already gone through its reproductive stage, and then the flower will drop off. And it's really useful for trees such as olives that produce fruit. Let's say you have an olive tree in a patio area, and every year the thing produces flowers, and then it produces its fruit, and subsequently you get these olives that fall on the concrete. You walk on it, it stains, it's a big mess.
Sure.
So if you take the time to prune the tree, shake it out, clean it up, and then hit it with this growth regulator, you'll eliminate the fruiting aspect of the tree, and you'll be able to enjoy the tree without the pollen.
Cool, and it's not just the olive trees, it's also other plants, right, that have pollen, and you really spray it with this, is that right?
If the tree's not very large, you can use a pump sprayer, a hand sprayer, and you can do it, but you're going to need a bigger hose sprayer if you're going to use it for something taller, of course.
Fantastic.
You can do that for pine trees, you can do it for sycamores, anything that produces something that's not real,
well,
good for the environment.
Fantastic. So we can use this, and then you just get it at your local store. Fantastic. Right. Sending it back to you guys.
But certainly win. He has so much to say.
He does. I need him at my house, Leslie. Thanks so much.
I know.